Hi, Steve here, Restoration Tips NZ. I just thought I'd do a bit of a video today on what people would find as a really burning question as to how solid rubber tyres are made and what they're about. I have vintage cars and I work quite a bit with these solid rubber tyres. People watching my videos will have seen my Trojan van, which I used to drive. Unfortunately, I had to sell it. But these are some tyres for another Trojan Roadster that I own, which is actually in a million bits, but I've got the whole car. It's one of only 25 ever made, and there's only one other one known in the world. Trojan cars were made in production from 1922 to 1936 or so. They're a most unusual vehicle with a two-stroke engine. They originally came out on these solid rubber tyres. When people call them solid rubber tyres, the odd thing is that they're not actually solid. They are hollow. This particular one here is, see, it's cushion tyre for Trojan cars. And you can see the groove. I can't get it apart. I tried sticking a screwdriver in there. I know it's hollow. And solid rubber tyres are measured by the outside of the tyre, not the inside like on a modern vehicle. And these are 28 by 2.5 inches on the outside, and they are held onto the rim by bolting the rim together, and they clamp around the edge. That one was on my Trojan van, and I was driving around on that. They were originally put onto solid rubber tyres because there was in the days of horse-drawn carts and horses and stuff, there was many horse nails, and if you had pneumatic tyres, you would be getting millions of punches. This particular tyre is actually from 1928. It's the original tyre. I'll show these couple of wheels, and then I'll show you how they're actually made. So that's 1928. The original early Trojans were on these wheels which are called non-demountable wheels, in the fact that they are actually on by an axle nut, and there's no wheel nuts to take the wheel off. To change the tyre, you unbolt them around the centre here and take that ring off, and then you can take the tyre off. The early ones are 28 by 2 inches wide, and they are actually most of them are made of an extrusion of rubber which comes around, and that extrusion is actually hollow as well. That's really hard rubber. I actually got in there before this video with a screwdriver, and I could find the hole inside it. The hole is about the thickness of a ballpoint pen, and normally they have a wire running around inside, which when they're fitted on, this is held back, and then the wire is tied, and it keeps them from coming apart like that one has. The wire's gone on this one. I think that actually that says Trojan tyre, made in England, and around here I think it says 28 by 2. This, by the way, is not a hubcap, it's a grease cap. They are held on by just an axle nut, and to grease your axle you just turn that and tighten some more grease into it. This particular wheel is not that well, but I have actually, for the car which requires 4, I have 6. So I have spares. And that one there is an original. That's a replacement tyre, and this is actually an original tyre. This is 1922. These particular wheels were 1922 to 1926. And then they become the wider ones which I just showed, and they fitted onto a demountable wheel which you could actually unbolt and take the wheel off, such as like this. This wheel actually takes a beaded edge tyre, which a lot of people don't know what a beaded edge tyre is, and it's a pneumatic tyre that actually is very difficult to put on, and it's clinched into the sides the same lip as that is, and basically they're just simply held onto the rim by extra pressure, air pressure. They normally are pumped up to around about 60 pounds pressure. These tyres, even looking around them, they have nails in them from use. I thought I saw one in there before, but anyway, there's nails in those tyres. The first Trojans had wood spoke wheels with the same tyres on, and then in later years they had the beaded edge ones, and then they had pneumatic tyres. How they actually, I'll use this as a demonstration relating to these, how they actually do, how I had the rubber, I had some wheels re-tired. They're done by Skellerup Roller Recovery Division, and the biggest tyre they can do is 30-inch in diameter, which is probably what this would be when they mould a rubber like this that's thin. They sandblast this, and then they treat it, and then they roll, this being just a demonstration obviously, they roll that rubber thin like that all around, and they just keep on going round and round and round with glue in between each one, between each layer, and until it's built up to the appropriate size. There's a nail in there and another nail there, and they build it up to the particular size. The rubber they're putting on is the correct width, and when they've built it up to the 28-inch diameter, then they take the whole wheel, and they cook it in an oven for a couple of hours to set the glue and to melt the rubber, and it all becomes one. The rubber they use is exactly the same rubber as what's on your regular tyre, on your normal car, and after it's been cooked for a couple of hours, then they take it out and they put it in a huge lathe, and then turn the sides off and turn it to the correct being round, and the sides to the correct width, and then that becomes your tyre. The ones that I had done were on the Trojan van that's on my channel. The rear ones are the ones that I had done, and they, in probably 10 years of driving around, it probably only wore down by less than 1/4 of an inch for the whole of the time, and a Trojan scuffs the rear tyres because it doesn't have a diff. It's driving both back wheels at once. That was just a useful little information that everybody really wanted to know. My point of doing that is that whenever I drove the Trojan and I took it to a car event, people would often come and say, how do you do the tyres? How do they make them? And I thought, well, I'll do that and show the things. The next thing is the Trojan engine. The Trojan engine has this, that's the inside of the engine, the pistons. Now, that's most unusual in the fact that it's got two pistons on one conrod that doesn't separate. These two rods actually bend as the pistons are, the motor lays flat under the floor, and it goes forward and backwards, and the top piston is your inlet piston and the bottom piston is your exhaust. The Trojan motor, being two-stroke, has only 7 moving parts in the whole engine. There is nothing else in it. There's no oil pumps, no fuel pumps. There's nothing inside there, nothing at all. Just the four pistons, 2 conrods, and a crankshaft. They are roller bearing on the crankshaft. The very early ones were poured white metal, and it didn't survive very well. The roller bearing ones, they just never pack up. There truly is nothing else in the engine. The top of the bore is joined, and the Trojan engine simply runs because these pistons are going around and there's a inlet port that's open with fuel waiting, and through crankcase pressure being two-stroke, it sucks that fuel in, does its thing, and then it goes past a port which is open waiting, and the exhaust goes out. That's all there is. There's no water pumps, no fuel pumps, nothing. They run very well. This particular engine is 1488 cc's. The early engines were 1500 and something or other cc's, but they reduced the cc's for tax purposes. This conrod, the V-shaped conrod, as it's been tested, that they flex as they're going up and down. They flex through 11.5 degrees as they're going through their cycle, and that particular ring there is actually part of the bearing. It can be pressed out and changed, but I don't know where you'd buy one, so I'm leaving that in there. These are spares, and because of their rarity, if I take them to a car show, I have to chain them down in case they sort of vanish, because they're very interesting. If you got really technical, they have moving piston rings, of course, and they've got roll-up bearings in there, but we're not counting those. It's just the 4 pistons, 2 conrods and a crankshaft, and that's all there is. The Trojan engine is very, very good. They can be hard to start if they don't want to go, but they're generally very, very good. I did many, many miles in my Trojan van. I sold it on a bit of a whim, and the fact that I wanted to buy the motorhome that's behind us here. That wasn't the best move I ever made. Anybody that's been watching in this video might happen to see these stretchers down here on the floor. The question that people would always ask is, why have you got those down there? Well, the tricky thing is, the Trojan car was actually invented in first design was in 1904. These wheels and the majority of the cars, they went into production in 1922, from 1922 to 1936 or so, something like that. And during the time, the inventor, his name was Leslie Hounsfield, and Leslie Hounsfield invented these beds in 1926. It's possible that he invented them for a motorhome that he actually built, and I'm unsure about that. This particular one, they were called Safari stretcher. They're made in Croydon in England, and each one of these little aluminium brackets has Hounsfield Safari bed written on it. This particular one here is a very early one. It would be made in 1926-27, and it has the cover to go over the pillow so that it doesn't fall off, and the cover to hold your bed socks on. This one has the still has the label on it. Take my socks out from under it, and there's Safari British made camp bed, and you can see on there Hounsfield, Croydon, England. The basic of this idea is that this video is that they still make these beds. This one, as I say, is 1926 through to 1930, and that one there is give or take around 1929, 1930, and so he sold the rights to actually making these beds in 1930 apparently. This one doesn't have the cover for the pillow. This one does, and you're supposed to tie it down once the pillow's under it, and then you don't slide off the end. The point of my doing this is that people that go camping, many people around the world have these type of spring beds, and the burning question would have been, who invented that? When you go and sit on it and it tips up and you slide off the end of it and all sorts of things. But they are made by the millions around the world, and as a mildly useful information, you can say, oh, I know who made those, and it just becomes a bit of interest for no reason. People might think that this Leslie Hounsfield, who invented these, was actually eccentric, and maybe in a way he was. He was actually classed as a engineering genius in his day. He invented the tensometer for measuring the tensile strength of, well, namely steel, but in other metals as well, I believe. He invented a machine for measuring off the amount of canvas for making these beds, that when it got to the required length, a bell would ring and then the cutting machine would cut it automatically. A thing that is actually in use today, but in a modern version, is he made a speed monitor device that when you were driving your car at 30 miles an hour, being 50 kilometers an hour, a bell would ring and tell you to slow down. It, it was a mechanical device that sat on the side on the running board of the vehicle. I have never seen one, but I've seen pictures, and they were in their day, and that was made in 1928, I believe, and we have them on the modern cars today. Uh, some little bell behind your dashboard that's telling you to slow down. So that was invented in 1928. So I just thought the fact that you could think of these things, in the particular, the Trojan is quite a interesting vehicle uh, to study. There's a reasonable amount of information about them, and the the ingenious devices in it are actually really quite neat. I hope that's been mildly interesting, and we'll call it the end there. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and tell your friends.